I'd like to welcome you all to another edition of In the Bleachers. As we tape this, it's September 19th, and we're getting ready to discuss the rematch of the AFC Championship game last year, Patriots against Ravens. Before I introduce my fellow co-hosts, I would like to mention that today, one lucky member of the audience will be chosen at random to come forward and do the Fab Four picks with you guys.
Wow.
It's about time.
Well, I've been getting a lot of complaints that I've been getting too much FaceTime, and people would like to see a little less of me. So I figured this would be a way to
That's
do
hard
it.
to believe, Dave.
Well, I'm joined by my good friend Coach Wallace
Greetings.
and by the future Chris Berman,
Thank you.
Boomer.
Rich Flera.
Young Boomer.
And Rich actually, we'll touch base, but he hit one thing right on the head about the Deion Branch situation, but we'll touch that as we go along. Guys, we didn't expect to be here 1-on-1. Let's talk about overview the whole Patriots Arizona debacle. I don't know another way to call it.
Yeah. it was
Like
sad.
Coach start.
Yeah, I'll start very quickly. And just what we were saying before we started filming. I can't believe that when Hernandez went down, that the team would have that much of an impact. It seemed like it permeated special teams, defense, offense.
And the
Everybody
crowd.
was in a fight. And the
Oh,
crowd.
and the
No,
crowd.
Great point. Yeah. Crowd went to sleep. And,
Yeah.
like you said, I know he's a valuable part, but this wasn't like Brady in Kansas City where, oh my God, the whole season's done. It just totally deflated the team. And then we end up looking mediocre against a team that I think is fair to Midland. I mean, we made them look great.
Yeah, they really had trouble getting adjusted once he went out. It was like they went into panic mode and it's like they just got dumped on prom night or something. They didn't know what to do. They had no alternative.
We wouldn't
date
know about being
replacement,
dumped on prom night,
something.
would we, Dave?
Well,
No.
Well, just the look on their
Never went,
face.
no.
We never went.
The look on their face, they just didn't know what to do. They had no alternative plan, and
No.
I mean, Walker dropped some more passes. That whole situation with him is getting out of control, and I don't know, Tom. It took him so long. One thing I was kind of baffled at. It took them so long to go to the no huddle and spread them out.
Yeah.
I understand they're trying to implement this new ground and pound style, which I do like, and I know it's going to take time and you're going to have to take your lumps as it goes.
Yeah.
But with the two tight end sets, one of the integral parts of that two tight end sets got hurt. So now you have to adjust, go to a 3-4 wide, spread them out, no huddle them, get them on their toes, so to speak. And they never did that until the last 5 minutes of the game,
Right.
and they drove right down the field for a touchdown. I know they were in prevent defense, but still, I would have liked to have seen that well before 5 minutes before it was panic time.
Yeah, agreed. I know, at 30 plays, I don't know how it finished, but at 30 plays they had a breakdown. There was 16 runs and 14 passes. So I know that they were definitely staying with the, like you said, the ground and pound mentality. And I don't know if it was maybe, because I also know that around the third quarter I saw Belichick go over to, in a very animated way, over to Josh and,
Let's go.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they went to
Yeah.
that. So I don't know if that was him prompting that or what.
Yeah. But one thing I
seemed to
also
work.
want to point out, too, that I'm sure you guys noticed and you guys noticed, if you're going to go to the running game, go to the one that's working. I love Danny Woodhead, but on two different 3rd and 1s, he got the ball and got stuffed.
Yeah.
I don't really know why he's getting the ball on 3rd and 1. One was a toss sweep where they lost like 7
Right.
yards on, which
Right. With
I'm
penetration, they
very
went back
adamantly against a toss sweep on 3rd and 1. Go right in line. You're just asking for trouble. And then he got it right off the guard on another one and got stuffed. I don't understand why Ridley, your guy, isn't getting 3rd and 1 carries. I like Woodhead, but he's a change of pace guy. He's not someone who's 3rd and 1 in between tackles going to slam it in there.
Yep.
I don't know. Some confusing plays.
I'd like to touch base on Brady's overall performance. Coach?
Yeah, I just thought he was in a funk. He just couldn't seem to. His deep ball was just not anywhere near accurate. The down and out that you were talking about with Welker, where he kind of flipped his hands around, I think that's what cost him the thing. But even if he had caught that, I think he still just wasn't. And he still needs to work on his timing with Lloyd.
Yeah. No.
He's just. I was hoping to see more out of him, a little bit more sharper in Christmas, being at home and all that, and I didn't see that. So.
Being Tom, when Hernandez goes down, I think everyone automatically assumed his performance would go up, and it didn't. And being the leader and the franchise guy and doing all the things and all the accolades he's done over the year,
Yeah.
when your team you see them going kind of like that panic mode when Hernandez went out, that's when he needs to elevate his game.
Right.
And he just didn't until 5 minutes left. I saw him on the sidelines, which was good. He's still trying to stay on the guys, like, let's go, we're still in this, which is very good, is what you want from your leader, your quarterback. but at the same time, he needs to do it with his play, and he didn't until the very, very end. And on that 2-point conversion, he was locked in on Gronk from the start. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Welker was wide open on the other side. He beat his guy to the pylon. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not going to say it because I'm not in the locker room or anything. I don't know if Welker's drops the last couple of games kind of turned him away from going to him, because he dropped that third down that you're making, that you alluded to. And that was huge because the very next play was the block punt, and that changed the game around. And then he obviously dropped one last week right off the face mask and, of course, the Super Bowl. So the last 3 games, he's had a big drop. Yeah. So I don't know if that forced Tom to look away from him. But, I mean, that's a big thing if he's not going to look for him, because he was just locked in on Gronk.
You never see him lock on people like that.
No.
I thought that was very curious, and I did notice that too, because Gronk had picked up the touchdown. So, I mean, it made sense to go back to him. But almost, the focus on him, zone him, have everyone double cover him, and then throw it to Welker. I mean, that's generally he'll do that. He'll look off a lot of people. Didn't look off anybody for that.
Right, locked in. And he kind of had happy feet a little bit.
Yeah.
I know the pressure was getting to him, but there was some plays where he had more time than he thought, and he rushed the pass and forced a bad pass. But I think that's just him knowing that the line was struggling type thing.
Yeah, they certainly were. Let's see Mr. Waters come back. What do you think, Dave? What do you think he...
I agree completely. I expect him to step up, and instead I'm wondering if he was concerned about the new drapes going into the place in L.A. and Malibu.
It's a big concern. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but the only thing I want to touch base is Brandon Lloyd, to me, has more body control than any player I've ever seen. The body control that guy has is just unbelievable. It really is.
As advertised, they said when we got him that he had the best body control and the sideline catches out of anybody, and it's more than advertised. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Guys, I'd like to touch base. I'm going to throw you curveball because it wasn't in the pre-show stuff I gave you. But I do want to touch base on the defense. Chandler Jones is becoming a monster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other Hightower was playing great too, but it's like right now he's like playing Jim Rice to Fred Lynn. I know that's probably not a fair comparison to my young friend here, but they're both having outstanding years. But right now Chandler Jones is it's sickening out there for the other team.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I'm hearing national heads talking about this guy, not just the local guys. So I mean, he's definitely on the map and far exceeding expectations. I mean, just the number of snaps he's getting, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, the defense played an A+ game. I mean, they had their backs against the wall. Almost stopped them after the block punt on the first and goal. Almost did. I think forced a third down. They got it. But what Hightower and Jones are doing is they're allowing Gerard Mayo to roam free. And he's second in the league in tackles right now.
Yeah. Really?
And he's going to continue to just be a tackling machine, because you can't double him. You double him, you're not. I mean, right now Jones and Hightower are taking attention away from him, which is as crazy as it sounds because he's one of the best linebackers in the game.
Great point, though,
and allowing him just to roam free. And with Big Vince taking the blockers up front, he has all the room in the world to maneuver, and he's using that freedom to just tackle everybody and anybody.
Yeah, he had some trap, some stunts that got him into the backfield quicker than the linebackers. I mean, then the running backs were there, and then. To your point, I know Mayo's just been, pretty much lining up to he's been like the Mike. I mean, generally he'll be the middle, but he's also going to the strength, and it allows him to make those adjustments. And I think as the year goes on, you'll see more of that Belichickian kind of, no one puts their hand down until the last minute. And I know that just causes all sorts of grief for the offensive line that they're playing.
Yeah, all the adjustments they can show him. Spikes has played awesome the first 2 games. He had that.
Really.
Everyone's been playing well. Defense, A+ for the defense.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
don't want to. I agree
Larry
with
Fitzgerald, one catch, great job.
Yeah, I mean, shutting him down is huge.
I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the Hernandez injury because it is what it is. But I'd like to. I'm hearing 4 to 6 weeks.
I've heard 6 on dot. I mean, 4 to 6. I mean, it all depends on the personal thing, on the treatment and care. But if you look at the schedule, I'd rather just hold him out till we need be. I mean, there's no rush. I mean, if Branch and Winslow can do a formidable job, then I'd rather have him healthy for the long run. I wouldn't want to rush him back.
Well, and that's where we're going on it is I don't want to touch about the injury as much as I want to talk about the domino effects that occurred this week because of it. Yeah. Kellen Winslow, who granted has never been what he was supposed to be, but I was amazed. He had 79 catches last year or 70-something.
Yeah. Still Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
run.
but yet nobody scooped him up when Seattle cut him.
He was doing
what's
very
that?
good, and then he got into a terrible motorcycle accident and wrecked his knee. His
Right, so I
first
mean,
year-
we're talking about his first year now.
Well, his first 2 years in Cleveland, he was Pro Bowl player, and then he wrecked his knee and went on to Tampa Bay, and still 3 straight seasons instead. I mean, he can play,
70 plus,
and
yeah.
he's going to be playing on a team where he's not the vocal point of the defense, and he'll catch a pass that's thrown to him. So I think he'll do a formidable job. He's not going to be Hernandez in the open field with the elusiveness,
Right.
but I think he'll be able to, on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, he can do a little short button hook and catch it in
And
front
plus,
of
if
the
I
linebacker.
recall, and again, I defer to you guys in some of this stuff, but I believe he was a pretty good blocker. I mean, he wasn't all hands. And he's 29 years old. That's the part that blew me away.
Yeah, I thought he was older too. But I think he'll learn. I mean, and he's going to come in here a little bit humble because he was let go. I mean, and no one did pick him up,
Oh, yeah.
and he waited till an injury to get picked up. And I'm sure Belichick had the chat with him before he
Yeah.
signed anything. This
We
is
brought
what
him
we're
in
gonna need.
2 weeks ago to work out.
Right, and then took a pass.
Yeah.
We'll call you, and ultimately,
Well, and
wasn't
plus,
until
he
someone went
knows.
down.
He knows he's got 7 weeks to put up. I mean,
Yeah.
but if he does well, they'll find a place for him.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, he's basically playing for a permanent spot on the rest of
Yeah,
the
they've
season.
shown that the Patriots don't believe you can have enough tight ends.
No, then you could deal one, and maybe later, get something
Yeah.
for him that you do need.
Well, the thing with him, I don't think it was necessarily physical with him with Seattle. I think it was more money because if he was on the opening day roster, he was guaranteed $3.5 million.
Yep.
So I don't think they wanted to guarantee him that money. I think there was more to do with it than just.
I agree with
a knee.
that, but my feeling was, and I agree totally with that. But my thought was, why wasn't he picked up after week 1?
Well, maybe he might have said that he was waiting. Maybe the Patriots had a talk with him, like, look, just like with Branch, if something happens, we'll call you. Maybe he had a short list of teams and was like just waiting for an opening on a contender. He probably didn't want to go somewhere where he'd get playing time, but would be playing
Yeah.
time for someone.
I think he could be a hidden
projection.
gem. I mean,
yeah,
I really
no,
do.
I like him.
I won't say there's a wide receiver controversy, but the fact is, you do the numbers. Edelman is out in the field as much, if not more, than Welker.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not going to get into, as Brady said, don't read into who started the game because you don't know. We start based on the series and what it is.
Yep.
But the fact is, Edelman seems like he's on the field more than Welker. What can be read into that? And I don't believe it has to do with the salary. I don't believe the Patriots play. All those talking heads like to say that. I
Yeah.
don't believe they
I don't
sacrifice.
think that matters to Bill once they start snapping the ball for real. And he's 3 weeks in, going to the 3rd week here. I don't think any of that matters now.
Well, the one interesting thing I would have liked to have seen, he didn't play until Hernandez got hurt. He did not play one snap until Aaron Hernandez got hurt, and then he played. So if
But,
Hernandez,
I mean, he was hurt in the first quarter, though, right?
well, second series in, but he didn't play the first 2 series until Hernandez
about
got
Edelman?
hurt. No, I'm talking about Walker.
Oh, well,
Edelman started.
Right. Edelman started. Okay.
So if Hernandez did not get hurt, I would have been interested to see of how much Welker actually did play.
Oh, I agree.
Because if Hernandez stayed healthy that game, we might not have seen Welker for
Right,
more than
right.
15
He
snaps.
might have just stayed. Well, once he got his record too, they wanted to give him his.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe some of that was they wanted to have that happen at home where they could make a little bit more. They really didn't make a big deal about it, to be
No.
honest. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was in the 2-minute drill too, and they didn't really
Yeah,
want to
well, I-
fought around too much. But I don't know. Something's up there, and I guess as cutthroat as they are, or they seem to be. They had a fan poll recently, and one of the things that they had mentioned was. What do you find the worst about the Pats? And the worst thing that the fans on a poll basis said was they should treat their players better during negotiations. Now, how many fan bases have that as their top gripe with the team is to pay the players more? But he's still making $9 million this year, right?
Yeah,
I don't
Nine
shed
and a
no
half.
tears. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think they're looking at it at a cold, hard business sense. This guy's probably got his best days behind him. And if that's the case, then you don't really want to lock him up for long terms like you just did with Hernandez and Gronk.
I can't shed
Well,
tears.
another thing is the running that we have already mentioned that we want to go to running game. They're both on record saying that Edelman's a better run blocker than Wes.
Right.
So if they're trying to implement this run, smash you in the mouth type offense,
Welker's
you need
not
a
gonna
better
be-
blocker.
yeah.
And he's a better blocker than Wes. He's bigger and he's more
And
physical.
he proved he has no fear
So,
in throwing his
yeah.
head into anything.
So, I mean, I don't think it's anything that we can read too much into. And I would not be shocked at all if he comes into Baltimore and has 10 catches for $110 and a touchdown. I don't think anybody would.
yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't
So
want to
maybe-
go off base here, but we need to. This is an important issue we need to discuss. People may have seen the phone ring again just now when we were talking.
Was it
And
Belichick again?
Yeah, it was. And Coach, I think you have to give up your high horse. In case anyone's wondering out there, the issue is very simple. Coach Belichick wants to have a role where he calls in on this show every week. Coach has said either you're here in person, you don't play.
Yeah.
Coach, this is getting pathetic. I hate shutting off the man, but
Well, I heard he was outside.
yeah, well,
I mean, there's a police
I know.
escort running around here somewhere. I mean, I'm assuming
Let's
he's
just give
outside.
some thought that maybe we might want to allow him to call in. We'll talk about it afterwards.
should-
but
we should-
believe me, I don't like
discuss
shutting
it-
the ringer off
We'll
when
discuss
the
it in the
coach is on.
post-game wrap.
You guys, another off base, not too much. I just didn't know if you guys heard this. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Brian Waters was offered a $3.5 million raise to come back. Much has been made that he was offered
It was
a pay
lowballed.
cut,
Yeah.
but he was offered a triple pay raise and said no.
Now, I just heard that coming in. So the part that I heard that maybe to add to that was that $4 million is comprised of game day bonuses that would accrue to be up to $4 million. So it's an incentive laden. If what I heard was true,
Yeah.
and that's still sketchy. But isn't it interesting that they put that out though, almost like to kind of cover themselves?
Yeah.
Like I guess they are. They'll say they don't listen to any of the radio shows, but then they sure do. Respond to them or make these things. So
Well, not like the Red Sox. I mean, they actually don't do as much of that stuff. But
yeah.
But to say that we don't take care of our own guys, to some
Yeah.
of the fans, the last 3 contracts we signed were extensions when they weren't even in the year of their
That's right.
contract. Hernandez,
Yeah.
Gronkowski, and Mayo.
Right.
So we have the last couple. We have been taking care of our
We
own
pick
guys.
and choose it wisely,
So
and
I wouldn't be shocked if Spikes was next in line.
I agree.
lock 'em
Well,
up.
guys, what I'd like to do a little bit now is, Rich, if you can take the 2-minute fantasy segment where you go over how you did last week and who you expect to play and sit this week. And then, Coach, if you can come out with your old picture for the Ravens
which I
game.
didn't do last week. So really, that whole loss is on me.
But I'm glad you've accepted responsibility because I gave it to you. And during that, we're also going to have we have a winner. From what I understand, he's made a $1,000 donation to charity.
Yes.
Man, way to step up.
Nice job. Nice job.
And he'll be coming up and talking with you guys. So I will see you next week.
All right, Dave.
Dave, have a
Yep.
great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
So fantasy.
So
let's,
fantasy, start him, sit him. Last week did pretty well. CJ Spiller has become a must start. I said to get him in your lineup
man,
last
did
week.
he do unbelievable
He has
last week,
been
Rich?
unbelievable. He has been great. Don't panic on Tony Romo. I know he had an off week last week. Seattle's a tough place to play. He's home against Tampa, who just gave up 500 passing yards to Eli Manning.
I love that game. I love that's Cowboys' first home game too,
Yes.
right? They started 2 on the road.
Exactly.
Okay.
So look for Tony to bounce back big. Get him in your lineup. Trent Richardson, a guy I said wait and see. Don't wait and see any longer. I had him on my bench last week. He's definitely got to play this week after those 2 beautiful touchdown runs
Yeah.
he had last week. Well, one was a catch. Home against the Bills, you can run on the Bills. Reggie Wayne still has it.
Unbelievable.
The old man
huh?
still has it.
The kid, the Luck is down. That's
Luck,
his favorite target. now.
Basically, what Cam Newton did for Steve Smith last year, Andrew Luck is doing for Reggie Wayne this
Right,
year.
right.
Get Reggie Wayne in your lineup. Home against Jacksonville. He's at 13 straight points in fantasy.
Luck against Gibbert, and there's a
Yeah,
couple
there's
of
a
stellar
barn burner
quarterbacks,
for you. Stevie Johnson home against Cleveland. Cleveland still without highly heralded cornerback Joe Hayden, who's suspended. So Stevie Johnson touchdown the first 2 weeks. Get him into your lineup. Brandon Pettigrew, tight end, going against Tennessee, who just gave up 3 touchdowns to the backup tight end of the Chargers last week. Look for Pettigrew to get in the end zone. And a defense that you can play. Philly, I know Arizona beat us last week, but they had 2 turnovers. Cole didn't have an interception, so he is due.
Yeah.
So look for Phillies D to have a big game in Arizona. And you might want to sit Tom Brady this week. I'm not saying you have to, but in Baltimore, he didn't. I mean, without Hernandez now, it's going to be a tough sledding. Peyton Manning, I would probably sit him home against Houston after his tough outing. Sean Green, sit him. He's in Miami. And how about this? Miami has not let up a 100-yard rusher in 16 straight games. I would not have known that if I didn't look it up. 16 straight games is the longest current streak in the
I was
NFL.
gonna say that beats the longest one I'm aware of.
Miami,
which is 10.
16 straight games, has not allowed a 100-yard rusher. Unbelievable. They're getting it done down there in South Beach. Darren McFadden, home versus Pittsburgh. If you have a better option, sit him. And Adrian Peterson, stay away from San Francisco's defense.
Yeah.
You might not have a better option where you had to draft AP, but if you have a good flex play, stay away
might be the
from
one
San
to do.
Francisco's D. So we'll see how that works. Good luck, everybody. And right now we want to introduce our audience member who's joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. T. Fly,
Thank you for
otherwise
joining
known
us,
as
sir.
Thank
Scott
you.
Wallace, my brother.
Welcome
And,
to In the Bleachers.
Thank you.
welcome
Glad
in
to
the
be here.
Bleachers Fly. And so what Dave's going to do is, I guess because he's just doing terrible this year on the Fab Four, which we'll go into in a little bit, he wants you to pick for him. Because you are known in family circles as the witch, and we'll just leave it with that. So last week, we'll just go real quick. We all went 2-2. So we had the Pats. We all lost with the Pats. We all had Pittsburgh. We all won with Pittsburgh. Dave had Philly beating Baltimore. We had two Baltimore
call,
picks.
Dave.
Good call, David.
He said Vic was going to win it on one of the last plays of the game.
He did call that,
He
but then
did.
he also said that he was going to stay with the horse-faced jackass, and boy, was that fun watching him throw 3 picks in the first quarter. I mean,
Great
really,
job.
that was just fun to
Poetic
watch.
justice.
I think Matt Ryan is an early contender for MVP.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. He looked
Absolutely.
awesome.
So we took Atlanta. So basically that meted out to everyone was 2-2. We did the bonus game last week, which was San Fran, Detroit. Rich and I correctly picked San
The
Fran.
tiebreaker game.
Dave was.
I also heard that Rich actually hit the exact score on that game. Was
Monday
it that
night,
game?
27-21.
On that
Congrats.
game, he's $50 richer.
Yeah.
50 points richer. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's a bonus
Yes,
skill points, right?
yep.
So overall, that puts us. So we looked Fab Four last week, 2-2. Overall, Dave is 4-4. I'm 4-4. Rich is 3-5, 1 game behind, and we go into this week. So
Let's do it.
what we'll do is we'll throw a game out there. We get 4 games this week to talk about. First game will be the Pats-Ravens game.
Why don't we
And,
let our great
I think
audience
we
member
have
here start it?
we have a great chance to.
You know, this is going to be one heck of a game. I got to go with the Pats. Call me a homer, but it's just
Call you a
gonna
what?
be a homer.
Oh, Homer. Okay.
Homer. Homely, homer, same thing.
what I was
I
like.
think it's going to be it's going to be like a 10-7 game though. It's going to be a
Defensive
defensive
battle,
battle,
huh?
yeah. It's going to be good to see our defense against theirs and see how they do. Flacco's not doing that bad. I really think it's going to be a low scoring
he's
game.
on fire, yeah.
But I think we're going to pull it out.
So low scoring, but you like the Pats.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Rich, how about you?
I will go with the Pats 16-13. I think, again, probably a little low scoring than people think. I don't know what the exact numbers is, but I know they're very good on the we don't lose back-to-back games. I'm sure Baltimore doesn't lose a lot on back-to-back games either, especially at home. They're very good at home.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have a little extra edge to us this week, and 16-13. Although Gostowski has never made a game-winning kick.
There's another one I never heard. Really?
He's never made a go-ahead
So
field
that would
goal
have been
or a
his first.
game-winning
That would
kick.
have been his first one that he
His
actually
first,
won the game with the kick.
And he, I think, wetted himself and kicked it all the way to the bleachers.
Yeah, that was a pull left. The second came off his foot.
Oh.
Didn't even hit the
yeah.
net.
No.
No.
I look like my golf swing.
Was that a
Just
bad
pull.
hold, guys, or was that him shaking
It was a
the
little
ball?
awkward. It was like slanted
was,
down,
yeah.
but still, it was down in plenty of time. I don't know. I mean,
Laces out, you know.
I don't know.
It
I
kills you.
mean-
He hit 250s during the game. If you look at the hold, though, he does have the ball in a weird position anyway, and it may have been a little slanted.
Lesco, yeah.
But
Which is
still,
what
that
they
was-
do. That's part. But it,
That
they
was a
took
full
even
pull.
more.
Yeah, that was a full pull.
Yeah.
The second came off his foot, you knew it was gone.
But I'm also a huge proponent in going for the touchdown, and they played
Yep.
for the field goal,
Yeah.
and it burnt them. I know we did have a touchdown called back, but then we didn't do anything the next couple plays.
You play like that,
So-
you lose. You play the prevent defense, you lose.
know.
It's
Yep.
the same type of mentality, Rich. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree with you more.
Correct.
See if
All right, so
Gostowski-
we're all Pat. I'll just throw in Pats, but I think a really high scoring game. I think surprisingly, I think both offenses just kind of tee off on each other, and I'm looking for a 35-28 game. How's that?
Wow.
Put it out there. Can only be
All right,
wrong.
all right.
All right, the next game in the Fab Four for next week is Pittsburgh at Oakland, and Rich, we'll start with you.
I think Pittsburgh goes in there and just manhandles them, takes care of business. Pittsburgh, I know they lost that first one to Denver. They still look good. They were without, we've already mentioned this, Ryan Clark, one of their safeties. He came back, had a great game. Oakland has struggled their first 2 games. They got slaughtered in Miami, and the one big thing is they're getting run on, and Pittsburgh likes to run the football. So I'm going to have to go with Pittsburgh running away with it.
Pounding attack. Yeah, I agree with that. Oakland's just a real sad case. I know Carson Palmer's just really never lived up to any type of expectation. I mean, I know they really, well, again, Oakland's made those mistakes before in the past, but I mean, I really thought I had a little higher hopes for myself.
Yep.
Because you still got Seymour out there. I still kind of keep an eye on that team just because of the
Yeah,
old
no.
Yeah.
Pat alumni. But I'll take Pittsburgh as well. Fly, you.
It's sad because, you know, going back to our days before Rich, Pittsburgh Oakland used to be
1800s.
the game. Yeah, pretty much. It used to be the game of the year. They were always at each other's throats, and it's sad to see Oakland coming down this way. And I'd like Oakland, but you got to pick Pittsburgh in this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, the next game is just a fun game to pick because I really hate both teams. The Jets are going down to Miami to play our famous Miami Dolphins, our favorite team to hate. I'll start with this. I don't want to pick the game. I just I hate both of them.
Can they tie? Is that cool?
You know, I'm going to pick the Fish only because the Jets are just horrible, and I'd rather see them lose because we need to lose. 2-minute warning, by the way, fellas. That's going to be a new symbol. Two-minute warning.
Hurry up.
All right, so I'm going to take the Fish. It's crazy. I'm going to take a lot of crap for that, but
I'm hoping for a lot of injuries. I'm hoping both teams are basically decimated from both games. It's like picking a sharp stick to the eye or a kick to the groin. I'll take the kick to the groin and take the Fish.
Take the groin kick with the Fish. All right.
It's a clean consensus. I'm going to go with the Fish only because of what I said earlier. That run defense is a lot more formidable than people think. I mean, that's an amazing
Shut down
streak.
Sean Green, yeah.
So you shut that down. You force Sanchez to pass. Tannehill didn't look too bad. He had more mobility than I thought the kid had. And Reggie Bush leads the league in rushing for the first 2 weeks. So not only are they stopping the run, but they're running the ball themselves.
That's insanity, huh?
So I like the Fish at home beating the Jets.
All right, and then quickly the last game, the Bucks at the Cowboys.
Cowboys. It's going to be a close game, but I think the Cowboys towards the end are going to pull it away by about 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, how about you, Rich?
I'm going to go with Dallas, too. I like that. The Bucks have been much better than they were supposed to be this year. Greg Schiano doing a great job. And I happen to disagree with Tom Coughlin with that whole skirmish thing.
Yeah, hey, you play until the whistle's blown. Yeah,
I
I agree with
Schiano
that.
there. I'm going to go with Dallas. They rebound off a tough loss in Seattle at home. First home game, that crowd's going to be going nuts. Jerryville, 2 touchdowns. I agree.
I'm going to look at it a little different way. The Cowboys are the Cowboys, and I know that they've started both their games on the road. So this is their first home game. It's a classic trap game. I'm going to go with the Bucks just because I want to be different. Yeah. And last week, what we didn't do is put up the. My brother also is an amazing artist, and this year we've commissioned him to put a special photo for each of the games. In this game, why don't you describe it a little bit, Scott? Just
basically, it's the classic bitch slap to the Ravens, and that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to be a smash mouth game, and I think the Ravens are going to be bleeding.
Oh, how can you finish any better than that? Well, folks, we'll see you next week, and go Pats.